Hello, race car fans. We have a special Kyosho here that I picked up locally. Kit a blister pack, but no original box or card. But anyways, it was screwed to this base, Mercedes-Benz CLK GTR Rennsport Touring Wagon. All right, this is the base. Wikipedia is telling me this is the D2 Privat. This is sponsorship from Vodafone, which is a British telecom company, and so this is sponsoring the second generation phone network in Germany at the time. And so I was always curious what the heck this was, and that's the explanation. Alright, anyways, back to the car. This thing was manufactured by AMG, the sporting division of Mercedes, and it was the result of some racing changes. Before, Mercedes was competing against some other like Alfa Romeos, but the cost of racing forced its competition to abandon their series. So the FIA created a new series where Porsche had their 911 GT1, and Mercedes saw that as an opportunity to go chasing after them, or beating them actually in this case. So they did a strange thing. They went and bought a McLaren F1 GTR, maybe an F1 GTR LM, Le Mans, and then they swapped out the BMW engine with a Mercedes or an AMG engine of 6 liters V12, making around 600 horsepower according to Wikipedia. And then they started slapping on their own bodywork. So they basically used the McLaren F1 as a test mule before they invested in all the molds to make the carbon fiber bodywork that became the real cars, because they had to make enough cars for homologation to sell to privateers, to regular rich people. Okay. I think this thing was able to go over 200 miles per hour as well. And then of 22 races, it, I guess, won 17 of them. Yeah, so that's a pretty good set of stats. And so this car, the CLK GTR, and then later something called the CLK LM, or the GTR LM, which I think is the 1998 season. I think this is the 1997 season, I'm not exactly sure. But something that looked like this model won the Constructors and Drivers Championships both in 1997 and 1998. So I don't know which one this is, but according to the base, this is probably the 1997, the CLK GTR. Okay, well anyways, leave a comment if you know better, because I don't. Alright, BBS style wheels here, they look pretty good. This thing amazingly rolls. I didn't think it would roll at all, but it does. And so the tires look good, they're curved out a little bit, I like that. There's a center knockoff, or is it a center knockoff? It looks like there's lug nut details in there, but no, it is a center knockoff. It's just a corner of the nut. Okay. So there's no texture here, but there's just a giant vent here and a vent here. They're just smooth, but they're painted black, so that's good. And then all this sponsorship here is tampo printed, so that's nice as well. Going to the front here, we have, I'm gonna guess, some fog lamps. Just part of the casting, no paint or anything, because the thing's already silver. This is plastic, probably part of the interior piece or the underbelly. And then it's very rare to have a three-dimensional logo on a Kyosho blister pack, but it's here. Although it's very thick, being made of plastic. And nowadays, expensive models will have a photo etched piece of metal there. Yeah, actually, even Mini GT puts a photo etched piece of metal there. So there have been advancements in the past decade, apparently, making more realistic emblems on cars. Okay, so nice plastic headlights here. And then the grille itself is also black and chromed. One little, I don't know if that's a bump or what is that? That's just a graphic. Maybe that's for the wiper fluid, because there's only one wiper, and that thing is raised, painted black. The banner here, I think this is a beer Warsteiner, correct me if I'm wrong. Emergency cutoff printing there. The scoop up here is just flat, but it's painted black. Decent panel cuts here, they're not very wide. And then there's some engine details back there. Okay, well, maybe that's not the engine. It looks more like the suspension, and so where would the engine be? Maybe right there. Let's take a look actually before I forget. I very often skip the interiors of Kyoshos because they're just always black plastic, and without a flashlight it's really hard to see what's going on. Yeah, I think that rectangle there is probably the induction system. So the engine is quite forward, as it should, for better center of gravity. Okay, well, on this side of the car, it looks like we have maybe a fuel filler port there. This side, oh, has two. So, I don't know. Maybe there's two fuel tanks or something. But then again, why would there only be one port here and two there? Okay, well, it does look like there's actually a door handle. There's a little recess for the fingers. This side seems okay. Going around to the back, nice translucent red taillights. And then these recesses are just flat again and painted black. These vents here, though, they're just printed on, tampo printed on, black stripes. The Benz star is there. Okay, some sponsorship there. This wing is part of the metal casting. It's quite good. You can see how thin it gets here, so that's pretty good. You know, a Matchbox or Hot Wheels would have a really thick thing to meet child safety requirements. These Nakaducks are also flat, but they are recessed and painted black. And then this plastic wing isn't too bad. It is actually curved on the bottom and the top. And the struts, well, they're a little wide, but not as bad as Hot Wheels. And unfortunately, this thing isn't quite horizontal either. Alrighty. Let's see about the bottom here. Yeah, typical race car bottom. So Kyosho, their downfall is they never write the year of copyright, so I don't know how old this thing is. And then also this press fit together, so if there are any problems, it'd be hard to fix. It's running racing slicks. They are rubbery tires. And I guess there's some black overrun from this tampo print there. Well, I don't know. I can't explain why there would be black there because it's silver here on the side. Strange. Okay, well, it's pretty good. I like it, you know. The only thing is this thing, but for its day, I think is a pretty fantastic model. I'm gonna guess maybe it came out in the mid 2000s, either between like 2005 to 2012, maybe, if I had to guess, based on my experience with Kyosho, but I don't really know for sure, guys. Anyways, it's time to spin it around with a couple of our castings. Let's get this to the slow setting. There we go, super slow speed, so you can enjoy this thing spinning around. Okay, well, it was competing against the Porsche 911 GT1, so I have two of these from Kyosho, but they're two different castings. On the bottom of this first one it says 1996. So this might be like a prototype or something. The next one says 1997, but it's a street livery. You know, for homologation, they literally had to sell people a few of these things. Alright, well, anyways. If this says 1997 on the bottom, and the first CLK GTR was 1997, I'm going to assume these two were competing against each other. I'm also going to pull out an actual CLK. This first one is by UCC Coffee, and it's pretty nice because it was actually free with some Japanese canned coffee beverages. It doesn't have any interior. The windows are totally black, like opaque, but otherwise it's quite nice. I mean, the molding is nice. The taillights are printed on, though. They're not clear plastic or anything. But for something that was free, quite nice indeed. Alright, this last Kyosho is, well, it's a DTM, I believe, you know, Deutsche Touring. It just says C209, and my sticker says it's for the 2003 season. So, you'll see that they have similar, although not quite identical, headlights. You know, this is more like an E-Class with 4 individual headlights, whereas the CLKs actually have the 2 headlights kind of molded in, blending into themselves. But I guess the taillights are supposed to be similar. Although, well, I don't know. Maybe the very first CLKs did have individual headlights. So this is mimicking an earlier CLK. These are more modern CLKs. That's what's going on here. It's hard to remember the past. Let's get these guys out. And I'm just going to show a couple other LMP style race cars. This one is called a Radical RXC GT3. This is a fully modern, a more modern race car. And then a more modern car again is a Toyota TS050. As is often the case, Kyosho did a good job on this guy. Yeah, I don't see any major problems with it, considering it's a used Kyosho. I think particularly it's because it has silver metallic paint. I very often am just used to seeing paint blistering, or paint rashes, I call it, with Kyoshos. But the metallics seem to fight it off pretty well, as you can see on this one. So it seems to be a relatively almost flawless model. The wing wasn't perfectly horizontal, and actually now I'm seeing crazy glue residue here on this strut, the bottom of it. So maybe the previous owner glued that back, glued it in there. So not a flawless model, but still pretty nice. Okay, well, I know there's a Roadster version, so that video will be coming soon. Okay, thanks guys, take care, bye.